just lift and roll your shoulders. This opens the gateways into the body, lifting up the chest, hands at the heart centre, look at the fingertips, just set the pose. And breathing in, stretch the arms up, clasp and reverse, really stretch up, and then go laterally to one side. Come to the centre, you can stay with the head forward or up, go to the other side. Stretching up, turn your rotation, come to the centre, and then turn to the other side. Come to the centre, just lift the heels, test the balance, and then lower the heels, lower the arms to shoulder height. Turn to look beyond the fingers of one hand, third finger, centre of the head, and turn. And then come to the centre, lower the arms, lift and roll the shoulders. And then we're going to just really boost your circulation by marching on the spot. And as we did before, turn a quarter turn to your right. And then quarter turn to your back. And then quarter turn again. And then back to the centre. And then just, this is an immune booster, but it actually warms you up. So it's upper lungs, so breathing in. You can do it through your mouth, into your nose, out through your mouth, whatever works for you. And last one, lift and roll the shoulders, lift and drop a couple of times. It's just boosting everything. It is actually your upper respiratory tract that's being boosted. And just lift. The next one, your chicken wings. Your elbows actually connect with your ribs as long as you haven't done what Patsy's done and let out a balcony window, water the plants. And then scraped her ribs, and she's been to the doctor. She thought she'd broken them, but she's strained her muscles. Oh, these things happen very quickly.
Another poor thing, doesn't she?
Oh. All made better by the fact, of course, rent's being paid.
Well,
So that I think she's in a very happy place at the moment. And then just release, and then just lift and roll the shoulders again. And we can put on a compulsory water meter. There's no option. They did it from the road. The whole of the area, Thames Water's been on, but we had no choice. Are you on a water meter because you got a new house?
Yes, we had. No, yes, it was. It didn't make any difference to.
My bill went down.
Did it?
Oh, except we had a bill 6 months ago, and it was like double as it was normally. Except I couldn't understand it. Cut a long story short, they came along, dug all up the front up, went under the meter underneath, and we said, "Well, what's wrong?" They said, "Oh, sorry, but the meter reader read it wrong when he came round the last time." What? Yeah. The rent's so awful. It was a massive amount of money.
Yeah. One of the reasons I won't go on direct debit for utility bills is that I've had problems years ago. And then I've been reading in the paper that people on direct debits, they've doubled the amount. It suddenly means that you can have hundreds of pounds leaving your current account.
Yeah.
And it can really mess your accounts up.
Yeah. You could just have it there, and then they don't need that amount.
So that, and then the lower lungs. You feel the tummy going, abdominal muscles engaged. And last one. And then just lift and roll the shoulders. That's complete immunity, lower, mid and upper lungs. And they say that if you just do one of those once a day, 25 you completely rejuvenate your immune system, but all three completely boosts and protects you against viral infections.
I was warming up a bit, anyway.
So it's warming up a little bit. So then the hands together and breathing in, stretching up once more, side, centre to side, centre, turn slightly, centre, and turn the other way, come to the centre. Lower the hands, step out with the feet, bend your knees, palms are facing down, and turn your body to come over your left foot. Come to the centre and turn to come over your right foot. Come to the centre, separate your hands and hold behind your thighs. Just bend your knees, just hug in. You can stay like this because it stretches out your lower back, or if you want to stretch out the backs of your thighs and straighten your legs a little bit, and sense that you're extending from the chest, so you're coming forward with the chest, so that your bottom sit bones are high, and then just soften the knees, press the feet into the ground and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Lift and roll the shoulders. And then breathing in, you're going over your aura, just breathing out, slowing the breath down. It's accessing the energetic bodies just beyond the body. So it's said to cleanse the aura. We pick up other people's energies. This is a one-way breaking connection and just kind of resetting yourself. And then just lift and roll one shoulder and the other. So the neck, nose is a pencil and just make a horizontal 8. Doesn't matter which way you go, because you'll go the other way. Breathing in as your nose goes up naturally and breathing out as your nose goes down. So the figure of 8 represents eternity, never ends, like the circle. And it also limits your neck movement to being very safe. It starts to move the left and right, brain balancing brain hemispheres, and it works on the thyroid and parathyroid gland just as part of your metabolic control. And then if you can remember to reverse your 8, we'll always start with our most strong dominant side. So I find it very difficult to reverse my 8. And come to the centre. Lift and roll one shoulder back, dropping it away from the ears, then lift and roll the other shoulder back. Clasp behind with your hands upwards to the ground and open up your chest. You're opening up your lung meridians as you open up this part here. Lifting the chest is very good for antidepressant, and then just turn to one side, come to the centre and turn to the other side. And come to the centre. Release the hands. Just circle the wrists one way. Turn your hands.
Oh, they're a bit better at the moment, actually.
Good.
But they'll come up again.
So it's again pretty long term at all.
I'm waiting for an appointment from Kingston with the muscular people. But it could be a while.
Could be well. So then just shake your fingers and then remembering that you can just pull, circle and just pull, circle, just each. The toxins tend to accumulate in the joints, so just moving that just clears a little bit of
I
space.
did that quite a bit as well.
You can put oil on your hands or cream and just make it slippery, just massage them as well if you want to, but just on the other hand, just circling and circling. Circling, and circling, and then again just shake. Oh, I've got a ring dropped on.
Over the front of your leg.
Yeah, I was thinking where did it go? Thank you. How strange. Thank you very much.
I think it's getting, sometimes if your hands are a bit cold,
Thank you.
then they get a bit,
Yeah.
careful, don't lose that.
Yes, I need to put my tighter rings on, but yeah, so anyway, thank you. So raising your right arm and just circling your wrists really here, and then circling the other way, and lowering, and then we're going to reverse raising the left arm. Hands together at the heart lift, so half salute to the thumbs. Circling the hands up, stretching up, palms together. Soften the knees as you come through. Hands onto the shins, half lift. Breathing out, softening. Half lift again. Stay here as you breathe out. And then soften the knees, press your feet down and breathe in as you roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Stretching up, stretching your fingers, and then lowering your hands. And we'll do that again, palms together at the heart centre. Circle the arms up as you breathe in, palms together, coming through the centre, onto the shins, half lift. Breathe out, soften. Breathe in, half lift. Stay here as you breathe out. And breathing in, press the feet down, roll up vertebra by vertebra, standing. Arms up and down. Lifting your shoulders. Come to the top of the mat. Palms together again. Circle the arms up. Come through the palms, soften the knees and hands either side of the hip of the feet. Slide or step your right foot back. Stretch the right leg out for a nanosecond and then drop the right knee to the ground. Come onto your fingertips if that's available to you and have a sense of length along the spine, looking either forward or down along the mat. You're stretching out your right hip at the front. And then sliding your left foot back, you're in the tabletop. Toes tucked or flat. Breathing in, dipping the back, looking either up or along the mat. Breathing out, rounding the back, chin to chest. Again, a couple of times to your own breath pattern, dipping in. And breathing out, rounding chin to chest. And then come to neutral, and hands go to the right to step your left foot up. Hands either side of your left foot, back right foot, flat or tucked. And just feel that you're stretching into your left hip. And then slide the left knee back. Again, dipping the back. And rounding chin to chest. Dipping the back. And rounding chin to chest. Knees slightly apart and bring your bottom towards your heels. They don't have to touch the heels, stretching your arms out. So you're stretching your back out here. And then walk the hands to the left. Right hand goes on top of the left palm. You're stretching your right side out. And then walk your hands to the centre and then over to the right, so your left palm goes on top of your right and stretching your left side out. And then come to the centre, slide your hands back, bring your knees slightly into kneel up, stretching your palms up, and then breathing out, lower the palms and bring your left hand to the front, your right hand to the back. Lengthen and turn to the look over the right shoulder a little bit. Come back to the centre, stretch the arms up, and then your right hand goes to the navel, left hand goes behind the back, and turn to the left. Come to the centre, open the palms upwards so that you're rotating the arms in the shoulder sockets, lifting your chin very fractionally, looking with your eyes upwards. And then bring your head to upright, and then bring your bottom towards your heels, and come to sit with your feet out in front of you.
I just must make sure I don't go
Massively. It's very disconcerting for you not to have a clock there, because I know what's happened. But then just bottom, just lift the flesh out from under the bottom. Dandasana is when you have your fingers pointing forward, but that is very formal. But in therapy, you can have your hands informally placed and just circle your ankles both times. So, you know, I had a brand new pair of boots, wore them on a walk. They were perfect. And then I extended my walk. They rolled my outer little toe on my right foot, so there it was pink. Well, okay, so I then changed shoes, reversing your feet the other way, and walked in something else, which are partly walking shoes, and knackered out on the inside of the foot. So I'm completely mucked up. One of Phil's friends wants to meet up in April and go for a long walk. I said to Phil, I can't risk in the mud. I said, I'm not going to risk damaging my feet again just for Richard. So we either go for a shorter walk, or I can bring, you know, not on the mud. I can walk for ages otherwise, but just just bounce and just rub your legs, pat if you want to.
I hate wearing new shoes.
It's just like,
I mean, I bought some really expensive boots for walking a couple of years ago, and they just killed my feet. So I go to the charity shop and got a couple of wear them again.
I did the same a few years ago, bought some fantastic ones, they're very comfortable, they just wrecked my heel.
Yeah.
And then these are lovely, but I've obviously got, so Phil says, well, wear ski socks. I've been wearing ski socks, but I'm frightened to go.
No,
when it suddenly goes, it
yeah.
suddenly goes.
Because I bought some actual snow boots,
Feet together.
which are
Oh yes.
really, I mean, they're very expensive. They're like 150 quid.
Mm-hmm.
They're the best things I've ever. I could just walk, and they're just fantastic.
I need to go back to snow boots. I lent my snow boots to Libby.
They're not right ski boots. They're just boots for in the
Yes,
snow.
so-
It's just the heel,
Yeah.
the sole that's, you know, and they've got fur and just tie them up. But,
Well, my snow
Yes,
boots went to Libby and she never gave them back.
so
So
the
just-
other way around. I offered them to go for Claire to go to Latvia, which was not -11. She said, I'm not going out with those. So she wore her Wellingtons and knackered her feet.
Okay, so just bounce your knees as well, if you want to put your elbows in, if you want to have any focus of the day with my poor old feet where they've been knackered out. I'm recovering, but just like, you know, what's going on? So
Yes.
just,
Sometimes you just be a bit more sensitive than others, probably. Yeah.
so yeah, I kind of get upset on Mum's behalf, and then she hasn't used an account for years, so the bank wrote to me, so we're putting it into a central fund, and as you say, so she said, no, I don't want it going into central fund. So then after about countless phone calls, they finally agreed, yes, we'll transfer it to your account of your choice, and they've not done it. 12 weeks later, they've not done it. So she's having to go through the whole thing again. And it's just like, I can't do that for her, because they ask all kinds of security questions, so it's just like, it's just, what's their problem? Why is it difficult?
It's her money.
It's her money.
Yeah, but you know, there's so many scams and stuff that go on. They have to be so careful.
And then just stretching your feet out in a V, and stretching the inner thigh, and just sliding your hands down to whatever works. Have a sense of extending from your leading with your chest, and then relaxing forward so as you get a slightly greater stretch on your lower back. We're not going to stay here for very long. And then just lifting up, and hips, double V with your seat. You can always have a heavy blanket. So that's, again, just hands to either side. Just turn your head to one side and to the other, and one side, and then to other side. And then you could just put your hands over your front knee and just come forward a little bit, either a little bit or if you want to flop down and stretch out a lot, whatever works for you. Tummy in, perineum engaged, just to walk back again. And then just hands to either side, stretch the legs out, bounce them. And we're going to do the same on the other side. Just reverse the feet. Brilliant, brilliant hip exercise. Just lengthen. You're all right with this. Just turn towards the front knee and just stretch yourself forward a bit. Whoa. And then just very gently press your hands down and come back up again. Hands to either side. Yeah, it shows up stiffness in the hips. You can always have a seat or cushion.
No, it's good to do it. It's just I can only do it to a certain stage. It's not a case of being painful. I just won't go anymore. You know?
And then just lifting the flesh out from underneath the bottom, and a very simple rotation. Raise your left arm and bring your left arm to the outside of your right thigh, right hand behind, and just lengthen the body and turn to the right. Simple, simple. And then come back to the centre, lengthen the body, and raise the right arm, tummy in, and bring the right arm to the outside of the left thigh, left hand behind. Just turn. And then come back to the centre, and just slide your hands, tummy in, leading with the chest, down towards the feet. You can hold your big toes or just come to rest on the shins, wherever works for you. And then just gently sliding up, lifting and lowering the shoulders. Just bend your knees. We're going to come to standing and then we'll come back down to the earth. Rolling up as works for you. Soften the knees and roll up. And we're going to do a Tibetan triangle pose. So true triangles, stretching your arms, legs out, and then coming. You're going like this, coming over. Tibetan triangle, feet hip width apart. Raise your right arm. The right inner part of the arm almost glued to your ear. Left hand can really hold your thigh. And feel that you're between two plates of glass. So you're not going to come over very far. Just slide your left hand down, chin in. You can look up or just keep your head straight. And just feel stretch. Try to keep the weight even on your feet rather than veering to the left. So your movement is very minimal. Tummy in as you press your feet down and come up. And then lower the right arm. And then raise the left arm. It's the same on the other side, just kind of between two panes of glass. With a lateral stretch, it's easier said than done. Press your feet down, come up. The temptation is to stretch further, and in stretching further, you'll often see people, so like in a triangle, they'll have their feet, they have a fantastic triangle, kind of go like that, and they sort of go, they stretch up, and they do revolve triangle. But the second your hip turns forward, you've lost the integrity of the pose.
Mm.
And it's nothing more than, people don't realise that, you're much better off having your feet closer together, keeping that open, and going down less, because you're then stretching. The point of a lateral pose is to stretch your intercostal muscles, to stretch your, what they call your flank. So you're not doing that if you're coming forward like that. And it's just those points don't often get covered, which is interesting. So then the other thing, which is lovely, swaying palm tree, join your thumbs and then just sway from side to side, because again, your body's not being asked to go too far. It has a much more beneficial stretch, but for hips, funny enough, Sue, you're just lifting up out of your waist and away from your pubic bones. You're lifting the weight away from your hips, releasing the weight, I suppose, there. And just from side to side rebalances you. And then just release the hands, lift and roll the shoulders. And a simple balance, hands on the waist, just lift the heels. So balance at any point is a mindfulness exercise. It brings the perspective of the mind. You can't focus and think about things. I've lost my balance because I'm talking. And then just release your feet. And just soften your knees and feel your lower abdominal muscles connect to bring on your lower abdominal muscles. And then just release the hands together. We're going to come back down to the mat. Coming to lie on our tummies. I know this might sound strange, but I wanted to do Sphinx Pose with the elbows on the ground. And just depending on your hip rotation, I like my heels out because my hips are internal, but if your hips are rotated the other way, some people like to go like that, which I find really horrid, but some people
That's hard.
That's hard. So the other thing is sciatica, because and the sciatic nerve, it doesn't mean you've got pain in your sciatic nerve, it's just if you cross your elbows, just one from the other, tuck your right toes under, lift your right leg and stretch your right heel back away from you, you'll feel a release in the front of your right hip. You can look down or look along the mat, and then just release that right leg, heels out, and just wobble your bottom from side to side. So again, it's slightly getting at the hip in a different way. Tuck your left toes, and the same thing, lift your left leg off the ground and bring your left heel back away from you. And that opens your front of the left hip. And then just release. Drop your heel out. And wobbling, they call it jelly wobble, but it is a sacroiliac releaser. It's called SIS in the back program. You wobble your bottom from side to side, just releasing out your hip muscles. And then just drop your head to rest on top of your back with your hands. Knees slightly wider apart. Soles of feet to the ceiling, and then just sway your feet from side to side. And that again opens your front of the hip. Windscreen wiper. It also is quite releasing at the lower back level.
It's really nice, that.
And if you want to make it relaxing, I've got my head off the ground because I'm talking, but you can just rest your head on your forehead. You can have you can rest your forehead on your backs of your hands. And you can linger, you can let your feet drop to one side and linger, your hips might lift at the front, come to the centre. You don't have to sway manically from side to side. Just very releasing in a different way. And then just circle your ankles in one direction and then in the other direction. And lower your feet to the ground, but bring your knees together. And then to come to lying on your back, you can either roll to the side, or you can bring your hands underneath you to press down to kneeling and come to side. We're going to reverse the position to come onto the back, so however that works for you. So knees hip width apart. And palms either resting on the abdomen or palms down alongside you. Feet hip width apart, knees up to the ceiling. And just come to repeat that swaying of the knees from side to side. So your feet might like to be wider than hip width apart, out towards the edges of the mat. So you just gently sway the knees from side to side. Your hips will lift off the ground. You can begin to involve your head in the movement. Yogically, you would move your head away from the direction of the knees to give a greater turn at the bottom and then at the top, but you can choose to move your head in the direction of the knees here. Just go with what feels good for you. Massaging across your sacrum, top of the bottom. Then bring your knees to the centre, bring your feet hip width apart, palms perhaps down. And just do a couple of pelvic tilts. So flattening the back to the ground as if you're going to lift your bottom off the ground. If ever you haven't got a bad back, but you've had a bad back and you want to take the first remedial step, osteopaths, some of them have taken this from yoga as their first remedial step forward. And they ask you to do this about 25 times. So it's just movement along the lower back, getting movement into the lower spine, while the rest of the spine is being supported by the ground. So it's a very safe initial back movement. And then very gently come to stillness. And keeping your right foot, you can adjust it where it is, hugging your left knee to your chest. And to address some of that stiffness in the hip socket, just circle the left knee a few times in one direction. You can either hold the left knee with both hands, or if you really want a big circle, let the left knee drop out to the left, holding it with the left hand, and your right hand will go on top of your right hip bone, and then make your circle. So that's a bigger circle option, but it's harder. Or otherwise come back to holding your knee with both hands and making a small circle in one direction. And then circle your left knee a few times in the opposite direction. So the thigh bones at the femur is moving in the hip socket for full rotation without the weight on the hip. So again, this is a very, very soft and gentle remedial movement for hips. And then dropping your hands below your left thigh, I'm clasping mine, and just raise your left leg up to the ceiling. You can keep a bend in your left knee, extend the left heel and feel the stretch at the back of the left leg. And then point and flex your left foot a few times. And then circle the ankle a few times in one direction. And a few times in the other direction. If you want to engage your core, just walk your hands up the back of the leg, bringing the left leg towards you. If you really want to engage your core, the next step would be to drop your right hand underneath your head, supporting the head and the neck, lifting your head up. And if you're super strong in your tummy, which I'm not, you would hold the left leg with both hands and lift your head up towards your leg. And then whichever option you've chosen, slide the hands down the back of the left leg, bend the left knee in, and open the left knee to the side, resting the left ankle on the right thigh, hands either on the abdomen or palms down, and just gently sway your knees from side to side. The hip will lift off the ground. The upside down figure of 4 is a variation on something called pigeon pose, but you haven't got the weight on your hip. So you're just very gently opening out at the lower groin level, which again is for the hip. If you wanted to take that to the next stage, lift your right foot off the ground and bring your hands through to hold underneath your right thigh. You'll feel that. And if that is no problem for you, then hold the front of your right knee, which is really stretching your left thigh, and hug your right knee in towards you. If your chin is shot up to the ceiling, you've gone too far, bring your hands back to underneath your thigh. And then just place your right foot on the floor, hug your left knee into your chest, and place your left foot on the floor. Palms on the abdomen as you just sway your knees once more from side to side. And often the right side, as we've said before, is kind of, if you're right-handed, is the side that plays up a little bit more. So adjust your left foot how you feel comfortable and hug your right knee into your chest. Just enjoy that hugging of the knee into the chest. And then we're going to circle the right knee, either holding the right knee with both hands and making little circles in one direction, or if you want a bigger circle, drop your right knee out to the right, holding it with your right hand. Left hand on the left hip bone and circle your right knee in that direction. And your circle can be tiny or really quite large. Or you come back to holding your knee with both hands and make little circles. It's all the time moving the leg femur in the right hip socket, and you're going through all the full movement that you don't necessarily go through in everyday life with walking or any other activity that you do. It just doesn't get that rotation. And it's that rotation that stops or discourages toxins and arthritis developing around the joint. And then just circle the right knee in the opposite direction. Really noticing where you jump on your circle. So it should be a smooth circle. And then very gently hugging the right knee into the chest. Drop the hands, perhaps clasping the palms, raise the right leg to the ceiling and extend the right heel. Feel that stretch along the back of the right leg. And then you can start to walk your hands up the back of the right leg. And as on the other side, you stop where it feels that you need to stop, where you naturally come to a stop. And you've got an option to stay like that. You can drop your hand underneath, or a hand underneath your head and neck to lift your head up towards your leg, extend the right leg. Or if you're very strong in your abdomen, you want to extend that a bit more, hold your leg with both hands and lifting your head up towards the knees. And then gently slide your back down, sliding your hands down. And bend your right knee into the chest once more. And then opening the right knee to the right, resting the right ankle on top of the left thigh. Just very, very gently sway your legs from side to side, your knees from side to side. Palms are down, just supporting the sway, and your hips lift off the ground. And then come to standstill, and either stay where you are, opening the knee out to the side, or lift the left leg off the ground, and you'll feel that instantly in your right outer thigh, piriformis. Stay with what I call a sweet spot. If you want to clasp your hands through your right leg, holding underneath your left thigh, do that. And you'll feel that instantly. You can bring your left knee in towards your chest. That's really stretching me. If you really want to go a step further, hold the front of your left knee. If your chin is going up to the ceiling, come back, hold your hand on your legs. I can really feel that in my right outer thigh. It's stretching the piriformis muscle, joining the top of the thigh to the hip, which is often indicated in lower back issues and hip issues. And then very gently release that. Put your left foot on the floor. Release your right leg and hug your right leg once more into the chest. Bring your left leg to join so that you're hugging both knees into the chest. And just rock gently from side to side. You can rock almost onto your elbows, or you can just rock a little bit. And the back of the head is very gently rolling across some acupressure points there. You give the weight of the head to the left. You've got cramp.
That's all right.
And then hug both knees into the chest. In your own breath, let both knees drift away to arm's length. And your pattern, breath pattern, hugging in and then just lifting, drift away. So you're then massaging up and down the lower spine. And then half happy baby, put your right foot on the floor, hold your left foot either from the inside, which is yogic, or a softer version of the outside of your foot, and sole of the foot to the ceiling, knee bent out to the side but aiming towards the floor, right hand can go on the right hip bone, just stretching your left hip out. Taking in and out breath. And then hugging the left knee into the chest, put the left foot on the floor. And of course the right side, I suspect, might be a little bit more tricky, so hugging the right knee into the chest. Holding the right foot either on the inside or the outside. Outside is softer. Bending the knee might come out to the side a little bit, away from the tummy. Aiming the knee towards the ground, hand on the outer left hip bone. Just slightly rock if you want some distraction. You'll feel it in the outside, in the hip. It's all moving the hip joint. As I said before, cod liver oil, omega-3 is all very good for arthritis. So, yeah. And then hugging the right knee into the chest. Left knee into the chest, dropping the hands to clasp underneath the thighs, and both legs slightly up to the ceiling, just slightly rock from side to side, your inversion. Knees are bent, just. And then very gently hug the knees into the chest. Hold both knees, and the knees move as one, so make little circles, moving both knees in the same direction. And that gives you a massage, but a tighter massage. It's around almost the sort of sacral area. A subtly different focus. And then reverse both knees, moving in the same direction, just circle in the opposite direction. And then very gently supporting the legs underneath, place the feet back onto the ground. Raise the arms, just hold your forearms or hold your wrists, raise the arms above your head, just stretching out under the arms. And you can just gently sway your knees once more from side to side. And then knees centre, just a couple of pelvic tilts. Your arms are still above you, holding your wrists and your forearms, flattening the back and just moving, tilting. Come to the centre and lower your elbows back down to the ground. Knees bent. Just tighten your feet, just clench your feet in and release. Tense your leg, your knees and release. Tense your bottom and release. Tense your hands, your fists, clench your fists and release. Tense your whole arm and release. Lift your shoulders up to your ears and then lift them and lower them away from your ears. Lift your chest off the ground and then just release the chest back down to the earth. And then just roll the head from side to side a couple of times. And then just place the hands on the abdomen, knees are bent, breathing in through the nose and breathing out through your mouth, and just do a few of those breaths. Increases your nitric oxide into the body, very healthy, reduces the tension in any of the muscles. If Charlotte were here, she'd go through all the benefits. You need to look them up, but there are multiple benefits of doing this. And then very gently just release that breath. And however you want to do that, to roll it to the side or hug your knees and roll to the side, coming up to a seated position. Take your time. And then we're going to do a very unusual thing. Take the fingers and just massage the outside of the ears. So the ears represent the body a bit like reflexology. They're obviously not quite so sophisticated. Just rub your earlobes and just rub up and down the ears. Lingering where there might be anything a bit painful. And then just very, very gently with one hand, stroke across the forehead, third eye, going from almost one temple to the other, always in the same direction, but it doesn't matter which hand. Just connecting to the third eye. And then a nod to the top crown chakra, so as how just hold your head in your hands from the top, and just let your fingers drift down across your forehead. They meet again at the top, just dragging your fingers down, almost to the tops of the ears. Just a few times, just a nod to the crown of the head. And then just bring your hands to your heart. Your chin to your chest. And take a couple of breaths here. Take a moment to have a thought for the day. It's a sankalpa. And it can be for yourself or for anyone close to you. It's a simple sentence, a simple wish. And when you've repeated it a couple of times mentally, you can let that thought drift away. The intention for the day has been set. And now give yourself a protection for the day. So imagine yourself wrapped like cotton wool or candy floss, almost an auric egg shape around your body. And choose a colour that you resonate with today. So your wrapping your candy floss, your protective bubble is the colour of your choice today. Only allowing positive things in, all negative things just drift away or are not allowed. And then that's been set for the day, so just let that image drift away. And then bringing your hands to your knees, Yama Mudra, second finger to the thumb. And chin to chest. Thank you for joining me today. I will read